Sorry, this is Martha. Martha's is an expert by experience with DCU and a peer educator and board member of Mental Health Ireland, overseeing the successor of mental health policy in Ireland. And this particular presentation has been produced with Deborah Higgins and Rosemary Murphy. Martha.
Sorry. You're inspiring no hope for Petikucha. PK. Ready? Yeah. Okay, so we took a step back and took a look around at the literature and saw what was happening nationally and internationally, a group, and saw that recovery colleges sometimes mirrored mental health services. They had mental health staff working in them. There was a governance from mental health services. And sometimes institutions are they come with, so it's harder to break it down. So we wanted to give birth to the idea of an emancipatory process for everybody involved. So we opened it up. You don't have to be mad to go to the Dublin North East Recovery College. We've moved on, sorry. This isn't very helpful with that. So we're in North Dublin. There's a big, oh crap, right, I better hurry up. There's a big tower, he's a Kerry man, and he emancipated the Irish Catholics, and education was one of the ways in which he did that. And bringing it back to ourselves, it's an inside job. We can only change our minds on it. I think I've caught up with myself, which is good. So, my slides are in the wrong order. Education is a very freeing process, and I suppose a little education can be a dangerous thing too, because when you know better, you do better, and you are more suspicious and critical, and you examine things, and you don't take things at face value. So I suppose we provide a space in which that happens. Community development as well is another way that we work, and it supports communities to come up with their own solutions to issues. It's around power, changing policy, and bringing about a more just and equal society. As you can see some nodding heads there. So that's it. It really complements the way we work. Co-production. Again, it's about power. It's about shedding roles. It's about moving from sick fixers, and that can be family, can be people who work in the services. It's about working on people's strengths. People are involved at every level, and from the start, they're not just an add-on, and it's working outside our comfort zones. So we haven't defined recovery in the Recovery College, and we're having a bit of a conversation about recovery and, is it useful? So I suppose it's personal to all of us. But it needs to happen for people who work in services, their families, and people who use services. We all need to recover and think in new ways. I'm way out of time. I'm going to go this way. So the values in which we work from: power sharing, we've got multiple perspectives, we've got recovery at the heart of it, creativity and diversity, and we're a very welcoming, opening space, and I think people say that we're fun and it's nice to be there. So I need to read this one. The Nursing and Midwifery Initiative seed funding came through for us in February 2016. There's HSC champions and community and voluntary members involved on the steering group, and we work out of education settings and community settings in North Dublin, Louth and Meath, which brings its own challenges. So the Beacon courses were what we kind of said, hey, we're here. They weren't co-produced. We're putting our hands up on that one, to bring people in. And John, the coordinator, worked with Utah in the Mayo Recovery College to develop the learning together, and that's how a lot of the courses are co-produced. We also take submissions from students, and I'll leave it at that. So we're more than numbers, but I have some numbers. So since October 2016, we've 25 courses, 749 people have attended, 95 are mental health professionals. We've had facilitation of the courses, 20 people coming from self-experience, and 16 mental health professionals. 20 seconds is quick. Building a college community. So we're slowly building a community. We've got access to libraries, well-being days, trialogue groups, student forum, which is really, really important. Once a month, we link up in 3 different counties, which brings its own barriers. So, gaps. Mainstream funding, I suppose. No, sorry. Bear with me. Getting into the heart communities where we need it, I suppose, and not being seen as specialist mental health places would be a gap, and buy-in from professionals. And how we're addressing those gaps are we're bringing in 2 new peer educators in North Dublin and 1 in Meath, and hopefully they will be the key to get us into the heart of communities. So, gaps. I am. Threats. They're in different orders, you see, this is it. Threats. We are constantly under threat in the Recovery College because we're constantly responding to needs, and that keeps us on our toes as well, and it helps us push new ground and develop new things. So, like the dinosaur chasing after you, I suppose you get very innovative and you're working to address those threats that are happening. Sorry, full disclosure, my slides were in a different order than this. And opportunities. We have amazing opportunities in the Recovery College. We're going to be doing mental health champions during the summer, and 30 youth workers are going to be trained up. So youth is definitely an opportunity. We're not seeing recovery as just teaching and learning. It's a process in itself, and I know somebody touched on that earlier. We are very, very lucky that our governance structure is kind of outside, which makes it easier to do things in some ways, like employment or, trying new things, piloting. Small is beautiful, and it's very useful, and we're linked into very good partners like DCU, DKIT, and ETMB. So the last 10 years, there's been big changes in the mental health world. I think awareness has been raised at this stage. The demands on services are not sustainable, so we need to put the power in the hands of the people, and the tools and the education is there for people to learn about mental health. So I answered the question, I'm a bit cheeky. How will social change and the new way of understanding about mental health come about in Ireland? And I'd say our souls need healing, and I think the Recovery College and education in recovery can be the space in which that happens. So thanks.